Yup. Right back at this video, man. Hey, man, we got, this is starting to get ugly, man. Hey, man, look, man, y'all know what we came here to do, man. Y'all know what we didn't come here to do, man. We came here to get straight to the point. What we didn't come to do, man, is all that other stuff, man. That being said, man, let's get right to the video.
The United States assembled one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, along with many other NBA superstars. This team was pretty much a cheat code, beating every team by
Damn. Yeah, now we playing like
against Nigeria when Team
like
USA
shit.
scored 153 points and beat Team Nigeria by 83.
Damn.
83 points.
Bro, they got 156, bro.
Victory in the history.
And we just lost to Nigeria, bro.
And I bring up this monumental defeat because just last week, USA's Olympic basketball team
We lost to them, bro.
again. And they lost. The United States Olympic basketball team lost to Nigeria. This is a massive turn of events. United States basketball has only lost 5 games in 85 years. The
Damn.
all-time record is 138 and 5. 3 of those losses occurring during the infamous 2004 Olympic run. So it would be an understatement to say that this does not happen often. The US brought the league's brightest stars to the Olympics, and although this was just an exhibition game, the NBA's best players couldn't weather the storm that Nigeria threw at them. And you're probably thinking,
That's because KD, though. That's KD team. I ain't gonna lie. KD wasn't even scoring for real, bro.
big deal.
KD got to go for like 50 if they want to win every game. Who was that? Joe Ingles? Bro, y'all lost to Australia too, bro.
Yeah. Coming right off their loss against Nigeria, the US lost again to Australia. This time, 91 to 83. Guys, this is not a fluke. Something big is going on here. That's 2 straight losses for Team USA basketball. Again, up until last week, the US Olympic team had only lost 5 games ever. In 2012, the US walked Australia in the Olympics. And now, this. So, what's going on here?
I mean, it's not a real game, but still, folks.
In international basketball that has been taking place over the past decade, and we are seeing this shift on full display. For years, the United States was virtually untouchable on the court. Games almost looking like scrimmages, blowouts within the first quarter. But over the last 10 years or so, international basketball has gotten exponentially better, and in many cases, completely caught up to the level of basketball we see in the NBA. I mean, just look at this. These clips are from the 1992 Olympics, where the US literally looked like an NBA team playing against a junior varsity.
Look like the Harlem Globetrotters.
These games were more of a formality than anything else. Everyone knew who was taking home the gold before the games even began. Compare that to today's USA team, and not only did Nigeria and Australia outplay the US altogether, they shot better, they rebounded better, they controlled the pace of the game better, they moved the ball better, and I think part of this is because the US team simply underestimated these international teams.
Because KD not trying to score.
Just take care of itself. Of course, this was not the case. But even when
KD and Dame is not trying to score.
historic loss last week,
Both of them could go for 50 easily. They playing around.
what Nigeria and Australia did in these games was a testament to the program they've built for their young talent and how they continue to develop this talent to an NBA standard. And this has taken years to accomplish. In 2012, Nigeria lost to the US by 83. In 2016, they lost to the US
Damn.
by 44. And last week, they beat the US by 3. Not a huge sample size, but certainly a trend is taking place here.
It don't matter, bro. They shouldn't have lost that, bro. They should have blew them out again.
Basketball world. On Saturday, the U19 FIBA World Cup Finals came down to the United States versus France. And in a game that went down to the final possession, the United States just barely squeaked out a win. The best player on the court was not one of the top 15 recruits the US has to offer. It was a 7'3" demigod from France. The US has spent the last
He's 7'3", bro.
with a clear and dominant edge over the rest of the basketball world.
Kristaps.
But every single year that edge becomes smaller and smaller. Let's take a look at the best players in the NBA in the 1980s. 1. Only one of the top 20 players of that decade was foreign-born or was of foreign nationality. In the 1990s, the number of top NBA players with foreign nationality jumped to 2. In the 2000s, that number had a slight jump to 4. And in the 2010 season, out of the consensus top 20 NBA players, 6 are of foreign nationality. But here's what's even crazier. Out of the top 25 NBA players under the age of 27, 10 of them are foreign-born or of foreign nationality. 10. Just a decade ago, this number was maybe 1 or 2. The last 3 MVP awards went to foreign-born players. Luka Doncic, who most fans consider the next face of the league, is foreign-born. This season's runner-up in the MVP was also foreign-born. This season's Defensive Player of the Year, a foreign player. So the international takeover on the league is obvious. But if I had to explain why this is happening and happening at such a rapid rate,
He just got up. I ain't gonna lie.
first and foremost, the NBA is a league of situations. There's always going to be superstars who stand out no matter what. But for most players, their success is heavily dependent on the situation they're in and how well they fit. Take Manu Ginobili, an international legend who led Argentina to an Olympic gold medal in 2004, beating the US in the process. In the NBA, he was an incredible player, but he was never the leader of his team. He had a role, and he played that role. But during international tournaments, his role changed drastically, and he was more than capable of being the leader of a gold medal team. Even role players like Patty Mills, Rudy Fernandez, and Luis Scola really shined when they were put in a situation that better suited their abilities. Second, and this is more to do with why the US lost to these other countries, and I know this is a hot take, but it's just flat out harder to score in international play than it is in the NBA. Defenses are tighter. Guys are playing for their country, so they take
and they making us look bad, folks.
The game is less about the individual and more about
like, what is y'all doing?
There's very little ISO action when players can have the entire possessions to themselves. Every single game is very similar to the intensity of a playoff basketball game. And a lot of these international guys are older and extremely experienced in this environment, whereas the United States is loaded with young talent that has a relatively low experience.
Damn, boy, what the hell was that?
Defense is basically shot in modern US basketball. So most of the time, the goal is to basically hope your shots are falling faster than your opponents. But when your opponents are scrappy, skilled, hungry veterans who will give 10,000% on both ends, that buckets first mentality goes right out the window. Luka Doncic actually spoke about this when he first came to the NBA, saying that he has a much easier time scoring in the NBA than he did in the EuroLeague. And last and most importantly, the gap between the United States and the rest of the world in basketball comes down to opportunity and resources. For decades, many other countries have had talented young players with the skills to play in the NBA, but the resources and opportunities available to these players was very limited. Oftentimes, foreign facilities aren't nearly as nice. There's less funding, less top-tier coaching available, and less basketball circuits to play in that would give these young, talented athletes the exposure they needed to make it to the next level. There's no better example of this than Arvydas Sabonis, a massive 7'3"
Damn, boy, big as hell.
From Lithuania. And
he broke the rim.
All-star Domantas Sabonis. If Arvydas came to the United States and
he demonetized Pops.
He would have easily been one of the game's great big men. Bill Walton once called Sabonis a 7'3" Larry Bird. Just imagine a far more athletic 7'3" Nikola Jokic. Just look at what he was doing to the United States Olympic team when he was 20 years old. That's not just some random guy he's guarding. That's David Robinson.
Sending that.
In 1970s Lithuania, Sabonis was getting minimal exposure as a young prospect and had difficulty even traveling to the United States after he was drafted in 1986. Fast forward a decade, and Sabonis finally played in his first NBA game as an injury-riddled 30-year-old. And he's still an incredible player. And the entire timeline of his career was dictated solely on where he was born. I mean, just look at this reaction from broadcasters when the Blazers selected him in the 1986 NBA draft.
For the last pick of the first round of the NBA draft, America's game, the Portland Trailblazers select Arvydas Sabonis of the Soviet Union.
They hate that, boy. They blue. They blue.
Good night, nerds. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Are you stupid or something?
Just the idea
they so blue.
A foreign player with no U.S. exposure was damn near impossible for them to wrap their minds around. Fortunately, things have changed since then, and thanks to exposure from the internet and social media and basketball becoming a more worldwide sport, young super talents from countries outside of the US are getting recognition much earlier. Because of the basketball boom that has taken place over the last decade thanks to efforts by Adam Silver and other NBA executives, basketball is now a sport that gets far more resources dedicated to it in these other countries because the idea of a young foreign player actually making it to the NBA is a reality and not just some far-fetched dream. Just ask yourself, would Nikola Jokic have made the NBA in 1980s Serbia? Would a 19-year-old Luka Doncic have ever seen the NBA in 1970s Slovenia? Better training, better facilities, better coaches available to develop these young players. See, the talent has always been there. It's not like Team Nigeria has seen a random surge of great basketball players. It's just that these players now have the tools necessary to really hone in on their talents. And I think this is a trend that will become more and more apparent as time goes on. The rest of the world is catching up to the US in terms of basketball, which is just going to continue to push the league to newer and better
Shooting that
heights.
ball.
More competition breeds better results. And I wouldn't be surprised that if in 10 years the NBA is far more diverse than it is now. As we speak, there's probably some kid in Norway or Japan or Germany who's gonna drop a 50 bomb on someone's head in the 2035 NBA season. In today's NBA and looking forward to the future, opportunity is given to far more players and hopefully eventually everyone. And where there's opportunity, talented, hard-working individuals will always rise to the top. Whether you're from the United States, Greece, Slovenia, Serbia, or Nigeria. And if you ask me, that's how it should be. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
That's the end of the video, man. Y'all be smooth, busy, man. Keep your head up, man. I love y'all.